Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hey there, welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Today we're talking about beginning to challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone. Today's quote is from Eddie Harris Jr. The sooner you step away from your comfort zone, you'll realize that it really wasn't all that comfortable. A lot of times we feel like moving forward is the hard part, but it really is true. Once we move forward, we realize that the hard part was actually staying stuck. So let's go. Being able to get where you want to go with your VA business takes getting out of your comfort zone. Sometimes it takes a lot of getting out of your comfort zone. We feel scared because we have never been where we want to go, and we don't really know if we can get there. We think we can. We hope we can. We try to plan to get there, but we really don't know for sure. And that alone can make us freeze in our tracks. I like to call it paralyzed. We're just stuck. So we don't do the things that we know we need to do to get where we want to go. I know I give you a lot of advice about how to grow your business, and a lot of that is mindset work that you have to push yourself. And we don't like to do that. It's not comfortable. But as Eddie says in our quote, although you think you're comfortable where you are, you're actually not. That's why you're looking for ways to do things differently, like listening to this podcast, or taking trainings, or doing endless research online about how to be better and how to do better. What you do need to get comfortable with is taking steps that don't feel so easy. And the best way to do that is, of course, with support. Getting someone to help you through the hard stuff is the best advice I can give you. But I have to say that first step is always the hardest, no matter whether you have help or not. But after that, things do get easier, I promise. But I get it. It can be hard to take that first step. I work with virtual assistants all the time who have that trouble, and we work together to get them through it. How do we do it? I'll tell you a few ways today. Number one is confidence. First things first, we need to make sure that you really are confident in the services that you're providing for your clients. We talk about what you know how to do and how it helps your clients. But there's a really neat thing that happens when I talk to VAs, either on a coaching call or in a group session or even just on a consult. I ask them what services they offer, and very often what that starts is them trying to recite an elevator pitch, which is always clunky and awkward. It doesn't go over so well. It doesn't sound smooth, and the VA is anxious. And then we continue the conversation, and I keep asking them questions. The more you talk to anyone, the more comfortable you get. We're all nervous, especially in business conversations, as we all try to sound smart and say the right things all the time. But what we really need to do is just to be ourselves. As I continue asking questions about how the VAs help their clients, inevitably they get settled in and they get comfortable, and then their voice changes completely. The confidence begins to come through as they easily describe how they help their clients, of course, along my line of questioning. When we stop trying to sell ourselves and just talk, that's when the confidence shift happens. And make no mistakes, your clients will hear it exactly the same way that I hear it in your voice. So the first thing you really need to do is remind yourself that you really do know what you're doing, and just to be yourself when you're talking to others about your services and their business. Challenge yourself to describe clearly how you help your clients, and when you can do that, you will grow your VA business. Number two is mindset. Fear is a very powerful thing. It can stop us from doing all kinds of stuff. It's a good thing when it tells you not to jump out of an airplane, maybe, although I have done that, I'll tell you on another episode. But we are talking about helping clients, and it can limit us too much if we let fear rule. And I know it's not just as simple as saying, do it anyway. I actually hate that expression, feel the fear and do it anyway. I don't think that's good advice at all. What I teach VAs to do is to identify what the fear is and say, what is the worst thing that can happen? If it's about reaching out to clients or attending a networking event, they say the worst is that they don't get the client. But you don't have the client right now. That's why you don't want to reach out or attend that event. You think that you're not going to get the client. But if that's the worst that can happen, then you're already there, aren't you? Now, if the worst thing that can happen is you say the wrong thing and you might feel embarrassed, then that's something else altogether. And we work through that. Mindset shifts aren't easy either, at least not all the time. But when we do make them, and when we see something from a different angle, it can be really helpful. For instance, this is a very real situation in the clients that I work with, the VAs that I coach. If I tell you to do some market research for your business, like I often do for my coaching clients, private and group, and that paralyzes you, then we want to get to the bottom of why you find it hard to do. A lot of VAs just get stuck on it because they feel like they have to sell themselves, and frankly, that feels gross. I'm not going to get into the specifics of market research, but I can tell you that there is no selling going on in any of the market research calls that I ask VAs to do while I work with them. You're actually not allowed to sell on them, so that's the most important piece. But for those that are really stuck, I ask them to approach the exercise as though they're doing it for a client. Why? Because we often jump right into anything a client asks of us. Think about it. If I asked you to do a market research project for me that involved talking to 10 people and asking those 10 people these specific questions, and I wanted you to collect their answers and make sure you booked those calls and talked to those people this week, you'd say sure, and you would go ahead and jump right in to do it. But when I ask you to do it for yourself, that's when the issue happens. Anything we do for us can be an issue. So that means mindset is at work. And that's what we have to get around. So pretend it's not for you. Pretend it's for me and go and do it. That's how you challenge yourself to do something that makes you feel stuck. But it's also how you grow your VA business. Number 3 is getting support. I tell you all the time that whatever you don't know how to do or whatever you don't do well, get support for it. Sometimes that means training, and sometimes it means someone. In this case, when we're holding ourselves back from success, it usually means a person can help you move through the hard part. We are not meant to do everything on our own. And if you are stuck in your comfort zone, although we know that you aren't actually comfortable right now, then it could be time to get someone to help you get moving. And that can be one person, a coach, an accountability partner, a colleague, or it can be a group of people, a mastermind group, a business networking group, or a group of colleagues. Whatever you need is what you should get. One-on-one stuff can be great because it's direct. I have an accountability partner that I so value that I reach out to all the time because she knows me and my business, and she is often available at a moment's notice. Group stuff can also be great because you can get a lot of opinions and advice, which can be really good when you aren't really sure which way to turn. But the key is that you do ask someone for help. So many of us working alone fail to do that, and we suffer a lot longer than we need to because we're either trying to figure it out all by ourselves or we're just sitting there doing nothing about it. Challenge yourself to find support for the things that you are struggling with, and you will grow your VA business. Lots of people also ask me about getting motivated to do what you need to do every day. I talk a lot about daily actions, but if things aren't going the way we want them to, then motivation can be really hard to come by. We can find ourselves just sitting waiting till it comes and getting farther and farther from our goals. What I suggest instead is processes. Have a process that you can follow to get the hard things done. Just like when you do something for your clients and you literally just jumped into action if something is for them, like I told you, setting a process in place and doing the things without any emotion involved can be what you need to help you get moving, just one step at a time. Challenge yourself to create those processes, either for a client or for yourself. What are the steps you need to take to get what you want? That's how you're going to grow your VA business. And of course, the last thing we need to do is celebrate us. Not the last thing, but the last thing we'll talk about today. When something good happens, we need to be aware that we're moving forward, even something small, like posting a comment in a group, if you haven't done that before, or introducing yourself at an event. These things are worth celebrating every single time. Your mindset is going to shift when you start focusing on what you can do and what is going right. We need to pull ourselves into the positive so that we can step by step move towards what we want. And remember that getting out of your comfort zone is a gradual process. It's about consistently challenging yourself and being open to new experiences. Over time, your daily routines will help you develop a resilience and confidence needed to thrive in this unfamiliar territory so that you can grow your VA business. Now, let's circle back to the quote for today's episode. The sooner you step away from your comfort zone, you'll realize that it really wasn't all that comfortable. Gosh, I just love this quote. I really, really want you to reflect on this one. If you think you're comfortable where you are and that the place you want to go is harder, you are quite simply wrong. And only when you get there are you going to realize that you were not happy being here where you are today. You are not happy. That should be the biggest motivation of all, but we need to realize it first. You know you want to move out of where you are right now, so let's help you do that. Let's help you grow your VA business by helping you challenge yourself to do the hard things at your own pace. You can do it. I am here to help. It's the only reason I'm here at all, as you know, to help you become a ridiculously good virtual assistant. I have helped hundreds of VAs who are stuck get moving, and I would love to do the same thing for you. We can work together privately, or in the Virtual Circle, my monthly mastermind group, or in my Plan to Profit group coaching program. Or you can enroll in some of my self-study trainings. I have lots of options to help you move forward. Check them out in the show notes for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Ridiculously Good VA Show. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. For more great resources for your VA business, visit my website at yourvamentor.com. I'll see you back here next time.